Long ago, in a place called Eclipse Valley, where the sun and moon shine together, lived a 14-year-old boy called Arman with his grandfather in a small hut because his parents were lost in a storm when he was born. The grandfather was a storyteller and used to tell tales of the Eclipse Dragon, which appeared every 100 years during a complete solar eclipse to maintain balance between light and darkness. One day, when Arman was returning from the forest collecting wood, he saw strange clouds moving in the sky with deep red and blue light coming from them. He ran home to tell his grandfather, who became very worried and said, "Son, it has begun." Arman's shoulder sang, "You have a good heart, my friend. I will help you." And they traveled together. Along the way, they saw a house where an old man lived alone and was hungry. Arman gave his food to the old man, even though he was hungry himself. The old man smiled and gave him a small flute, saying, "When you need it most, play this. It will help you." Arman continued forward and reached a deep river where the bridge was broken. He was worried on how to cross when the phoenix said, "Sit on my back," and carried Arman across the river with its magical wings. Long ago, in a place called Eclipse Valley, where the sun and moon shone together, lived a 14-year-old boy named Arman with his well. He gripped the crystal tightly in his hand, and suddenly a white light came out of it, pushing the soldiers back. The soldiers fled, but their commander watched from far and sent word to Malakar. Arman and the phoenix reached an old temple where the walls sang that to get to the special Eclipse Dragon, we had to complete 3 trials: trial of courage, trial of wisdom, and trial of heart. The first trial was a dark cave where Arman had to go alone and face his greatest fear, or with options such as sword, magic, knowledge. But Arman thought and understood that the strongest power is understanding and compassion, because these things connect people. He wrote this answer, and suddenly a golden feather appeared in his hand. The third and most difficult trial is the trial of heart, where Arman needed to give up his greatest wish. A mirror appeared before him, showing that if he went back to the past, he could save his parents from the storm. But Arman became very emotional, thinking that if he could do this, his entire life would change. But then he heard the phoenix's voice. "Arman, if you change the past, you won't be the person you are today. Everything you've..." Arman. Now he had all 3 things: the white pearl, golden feather, and red ruby. All of a sudden, the ground started shaking, and a giant eclipse began in the sky as the sun and the moon got aligned, opening up a portal from which came out mighty winds. Arman and the phoenix entered the portal, arriving at a place that was neither earth nor sky, but only clouds of purple and golden colors. And far away, on a massive mountain, slept a giant dragon, whose scales were shining like the sun, and his wings were decorated with stars. This was the Eclipse Dragon, which had been sleeping here for thousands of years. But then Arman and its voice got into Arman's heart. "Who are you, little human who has awakened me?" Arman said fearfully. "My name is Arman, and this Malakar wants to control you to destroy the world. Please, help us." The dragon read Arman's heart and saw all the sacrifices he had made and all the courage he had shown. The dragon saw Arman's pure heart and understood that this boy was deserving. But Malakar made his dark magic even more powerful and wrapped one of the dragon's wings in dark energy, causing the dragon to lose balance and begin falling. Arman shouted, "No!" and ran toward the dragon. Then he remembered the flute the old man had given him. He took out the flute and began to play it, producing a beautiful melody so peaceful that the dark magic slowly began to dissolve. Malakar became angry and attacked Arman with his staff, but the phoenix threw itself in between to save Arman and fell to the ground, injured. Arman cried out, "Phoenix!" and tears flowed down his eyes as he ran to the phoenix and fell on it with an embrace. The pain and love of Arman was so great that the tears he shed made a golden light that started healing the wounds of the phoenix, and the phoenix rose again, even stronger and beautiful than before. The dragon saw all this and awoke up, full and completely aware of his situation. The dragon opened his mouth and flung the golden and silver fire at Malachar that made Malachar forget everything and went to sleep. However, the dragon did not kill Malachar, but rather destroyed his staff, and all his dark powers had gone. And the dragon spread his wings so wide that they filled the whole sky, making Malak, the dragon, then said to Arman, "You are a special human, Arman. You have rescued not only me, but also a lost soul. The pity in your heart is the biggest power. I wish to give you a gift." The dragon took off a small scale off its wing that shone like crystal and gave it to Arman. "This scale will guard you and your loved ones, and the day the balance in the world is thrown off, it will summon you." Arman kept the scale near his heart and said, "Thank you, but will you never always remain here?" The dragon smiled and said, "I am here and I am everywhere. Where light and darkness had to be balanced, I am there. But now, you must go home. Your grandfather is waiting on you." And Arman ran back to his grandfather and told him everything. Grandfather wept with joy and took Arman into his embrace, saying his parents would be so proud of him, son. When the people of the valley heard that Arman had already saved them, all would celebrate, and people gave cheers, and the dragon became a healer, and he healed people at no cost. The phoenix remained with Arman, becoming his best friend. Arman loved and cried pain so much that the tears produced a golden light that started to mend the phoenix, and the phoenix got a new life, even stronger and more beautiful than ever. The dragon saw all this and was fully awake again with all his senses. The dragon opened his mouth and threw out golden and silver fire against Malachar, who raised his shield, but the fire was so mighty that it broke his shield. And still, the dragon did not kill Malachar. But the dragon took away all his dark powers and turned the Malachar into a young, ordinary man. The dragon spread his wings so broad that they covered all.